You are a priest. An evil witch has burned down your church with the congregation still in it. Despite your, I assume, Christian teachings, you refuse to turn the other cheek and give chase. After successfully parking your car in a tree, the witch enters the nearby cave. You grab the totally non-satanic looking amulet and follow her. Soon enough you spot goblins. They are in the way of your righteous fury and revenge. You defeat the cousin and emerge from the caves. The church is back, but something is clearly off. Welcome to Sulfur. Sulfur is a 2024 first-person shooter with roguelite and crafting elements, developed by a small Swedish indie studio appropriately named Perfect Random. The game will take you on a shooting and looting adventure through randomly sequenced, sprawling caves, cultist-occupied towns, sewers filled with corrupted abominations, hedge mazes, dungeons, ornate yet dilapidated castles, dark forests, Shavva fortresses, and vast deserts, all with unique enemies and challenges. The art style is a cartoony mix of 3D and 2D graphics, but don't be fooled by the cuteness of it. Some visuals this game provides may be disturbing. I have seen and heard this game being compared to Tarkov a lot, but to be fair, apart from the stash that will never be enough to store all your items, and the fact that you lose items if you die in a run, these are pretty different games. And in my 160 hours of playtime, no goblin has called me in a homophobic Russian slur.
Вижу, пидораса!
Undeniably, the stars of the show are the weapons and their attachment and enchantment system. The weapon variety is decent, and pretty much each update brings something new to the table. Weapons are split into 6 calibers: 9mm, 12 gauge, 5.56, 7.62, 50 cal and energy cells. Some weapons are clearly inspired by real-life counterparts. SOCOM 9 is a Glock series pistol. Gravekeeper is a Colt 1911, although chambered in 5.56. Vulture is inspired by the Desert Eagle. I think technically it could work. And the Death Star is a SMG with a Luger type toggle action. Okay, now you're just fucking with me. When you eliminate enemies, the weapon gains experience and eventually it will level up and receive an enchantment slot to a maximum count of 5. The first couple of levels will come easily, but to reach the final level you will need to do some grinding. This segues into maybe the most unique system Sulfur has to offer: weapon enchantments. I would call it oiling them up, but you can use 1 slot per weapon for a scroll. Scrolls can truly make even the perceivably weakest weapons into damage-delivering powerhouses or weapons with high utility. Of course, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Some of the strongest scrolls, like the Scroll of Holy Fire, can turn your weapon into a railgun that passes through multiple enemies, but cut your weapon's fire rate in half. But then again, the game gives you the agency to either enhance weapons that won't feel the reduced fire rate, namely the Knop 22 long rifle and the Arbiter shotgun, or make guns more manageable like the Ploika compact or the Duhar light machine gun, which have a high fire rate from the start. Or you know, oils. Oils can also help you mitigate enchantment or oiling downsides, and enhance or diminish the existing stats of any weapon. Oils that offer pure bonuses are rare and far between, so save them for your favorite or main weapons. More often you will have to trade one weapon stat for another. As you can see here, I only have 2 oils that have no minuses. One is the damage oil, which offers a flat 25% damage increase, and a spread oil, which reduces the weapon's spread by 0.3. But other oils, like the judgment oil, requires me to sacrifice movement speed for damage, or loot chance for critical chance. Maybe in the late game where you are flush with cash you won't see it as a problem, but in the early game loot is very important. Another way to further increase a weapon's effectiveness are weapon attachments. Silencers, reflex sights, muzzle brakes, barrel extensions, scopes. Again, you won't get anything near Tarkov's level of weapon customization, but what we have here is serviceable, but definitely can be improved. One such case would be extended magazines. Imagine if weapons like the Pierre Fusil or the Drifter had extended mags. It would add more ways to optimize weapons and further the sometimes unexpected comedy Sulfur provides. Other such changes could be done to scopes with either adjustable zoom levels or a combination of high-powered scopes and red dots, as attaching a sniper scope makes some close quarters combat encounters harder. Another cool mechanic is the chamber chisel. It gives you the option of changing the caliber of any given weapon. 12 gauge assault rifle? Sure. 7.62 semi-automatic shotgun rifle? You bet. Just keep in mind that increasing calibers brings increased recoil and spread, which you will have to mitigate using the weapon attachments or oils. Using some oils, enchantments and a caliber chisel can easily turn a weak 9mm can plinker, like the Knop LR22, to a 50 BMG monster that with a precise hit can blast a large hole in most enemies encountered. To replenish your health, you will be looting but primarily cooking many delicious looking foods. Pro tip: do not play Sulfur if you are hungry, as some of the cuisines on offer look mouth-watering delicious. It almost feels as if one of the developers has a cooking degree. The ingredient list is long and quite varied. From the first mushrooms you find in the caves to the cacti in the desert can be cooked in campfires, ovens or various sized cooking pots. The combinations are often logical. Mix flour with water to get bread, scramble eggs into omelets, or use the intestines of your enemies combined with their meat to make spicy sausages. I found pizza to be one of the best foods on offer. Although the ingredients, namely spicy sausage, bread, cheese and herbs, are harder to come by and it can be cooked anywhere but in the largest cooking stations, one cooked pizza can be cut into 6 pieces that replenish 100 HP each. Cooking stations can also be used to craft explosives and time-slowing consumables. In Sulfur, to unlock the next location you have to completely clear the first. The journey starts through the caves. Caves will prove to be an extended tutorial, as enemies and their projectiles are either slow or weak. Depending on your luck regarding loot, enemy, and vendor spawn, you could be struggling more with ammo and fire rate rather than with the challenge. At around midpoint of any location, you will find a shrine containing the Earth Mother's blood that will charge up your amulet. You have pretty much reached a checkpoint. Don't hesitate to return to the church and regroup if you feel supplies and ammunition are starting to run low, or you have chosen a bad kit for the current run. The caves culminate with a boss battle against the cousin, a big goblin that hides in puddles that are majority made of mud. After taking some damage, he retreats and coats himself into a protective layer that you will have to punch through. At another point, he calls for help from other goblins. Defeating him opens the exit from the caves and opens the town location. Before going to the next location, sell unnecessary items, repair weapons and armors at Ralphie. You can also restock at Stiffleg, as he sells more ammunition than the other traders. Be sure to engage with the quest mechanic from all traders. The quests consist of fetch quests that reward you with stamps. Stamps can be traded for more storage space or very useful utility stations. Brilliant examples are the bulk ammo box and the baptismal fountain. You have probably noticed that traders sell limited amounts of ammo each time you return from a run, while the bulk ammo box allows you to spend all your solves on ammunition, and even with a 20% discount. Cryptic oil or scroll description ruined your weapon? Wash it away at the baptismal fountain. Note that you lose all oils and scroll supply to the weapon. The town increases difficulty and enemy encounter variety. You might notice that the guard dogs and bruisers are just faster, tougher variants of the goblins from the caves, but the addition of the riflemen and trackers bring new challenges to the mid and long range. The town is also more open with more ranged engagements that support the new mobs, and allows you to use sniper rifles. Cultists are wearing skull masks that shield them from headshots, but once they lose the masks they cower in fear and become hunted by their own faction. Use that to your advantage. Town location culminates in a boss battle with 3 Black Guild Cardinals, who fire long bursts and teleport from platform to platform. Dispatching them grants you access to the sewers. The sewers are going to offer more environmental challenges than anything. You will have to navigate vast bodies of water. Yes, enemies again have more health, and the corrupted guildsmen have an annoying head hitbox. This location in particular has lots of secret rooms. These rooms can be accessed through flooded tunnels, but to reach the most valuable ones you will need special equipment like the second lung, tank of oxygen or the diving fin that offer either swim speed or lung capacity bonuses. Oof, the soundtrack for this location is in my opinion the best the game has to offer. This area has no special encounters. Shame, really. And by finishing it, you will exit the sewers near the hedge maze. Another welcome change in the variety, both location and gameplay-wise. As to complete the castle location, you are required to navigate the hedge maze, then clear the dungeons below the castle, and only then the castle itself to confront the area boss, Sancta Lucia. It's too bad such endurance runs are not expanded later in the game, as it changes things up, making you plan a bit more carefully to carry more food supplies and maintenance items. The hedge maze is a labyrinth filled with dead ends, treasure chests and corrupted amalgamations. Don't try to fight them, as they are unbeatable and at best your gunfire will stun them for a couple of seconds. Yet again, equipment that focuses on movement speed are helpful to outrun the amalgamations and dodge their attacks. The maze is not too long and ends at the entrance to the dungeons. The dungeons are truly a noticeable difficulty spike, because apart from the Black Guild cultists we are familiar with from the town location, it adds assassins. These mechanically enhanced turbo cultists will run at you with great speed and leap long distances just to stab you. Heavy firepower or high fire rates are mandatory. The dungeon culminates with a battle against the Novanian guard. The foe itself has a large health pool and armor. Good thing the guard has a long telegraphed wind-up animation for his ball and chain attack. My strategy was to shoot off his helmet and then attack the glowing orb it hides. Hope you like flashing lights. When you deliver enough damage, the guard will kneel, grab his head and explode, granting you access to the castle interior. The castle brings back the cardinals and Novanian guards as regular enemies. New additions are the sappers. The longer they are alive, the more mines they lay, so watch your step. The castle ends with a battle against Sancta Lucia. Oh, and it's going to be quite a battle. Lucia's arsenal includes slowing, burning, and screaming you to death. And when the battle starts to not go in her favor, call upon assassins, my favorite, to stop you. Occasionally, Lucia will darken the room, and you will have a short period of time to react to her glowing, conjured eyes. Failure sets you on fire, so make sure you have liquids to douse the flames. Defeating her opens a portal to the forest. The endurance run is over, and you can leave for the church. The forest is such a well-crafted location. It feels less linear and more vertical than previous locations. I might even say forest is the richest location, as treasure hides almost behind every blade of grass. Don't allow the serenity to catch you off guard, as ambushes and the types of enemies present will keep you on your feet. Your main foe will be the Crows. Sentinels change the dynamic of the fight, as apart from trying to lunge at you, they can put up their wings and block all incoming damage until you stop firing. And as soon as they can, they try to reposition out of your field of view to begin the assault again. Watchers have little health and an even smaller hitbox. Not deadly outright, but can pester you while you are distracted by other enemies. The tankiest enemy of the roster will be the Abominations. Slow but deadly up close, using attacks from Sancta Lucia's playbook. The overall atmosphere is gloomy and oppressive, and while playing I noticed multiple times that the soundtrack sparks in me memories of Tristram from Diablo. Or is it just me? The boss of the forest is comically called Terrorbaum, accompanied with yet another kick-ass addition to the background music. Its only weakness are the eyes, but hitting them with consistency will be hard, as it spams watchers non-stop. After dealing some damage, it will enter into a rage-filled charge mode. But that's not all it has in store. Terror Bomb is also capable of causing a bullet rain, and will sprout rotating roots to damage you and keep the pressure off its eyes. Defeating it unlocks the access to the Sulfur fortress. Oh boy, time for another significant difficulty spike. This time I almost got spawn camped. I can admit that the fortress is the location where I have had many runs end in my defeat. The verticality mixed with close quarters and enemy types present make the fortress a high adrenaline experience. You might think it's just a reskin of the town, but it's very much different, as you will also dive into the fortress caverns at the midpoint. Combat will prove more dynamic than any other location, as the Xiaohua are very varied both visually and tactically. In order of their threat level, the Lurk is a small amphibian that may not be a threat by itself, but serves as a distraction in the field, as usually it comes accompanied with other more dangerous Xiaohua soldiers. The Samurai, despite their name, the katana is the weapon you should least fear, as when they get close, a pistol becomes their primary weapon of choice. Dispatch them from a distance. Warden is a ranged enemy that uses a gong as a shield to protect himself from your oncoming fire. Timing is everything, as you can only hit him while he reloads his crossbow. The twerkers. I can see the developers had some fun designing this enemy. He has no offensive capabilities, but serves to literally distract you with his succulent bottom. Only certain equipment can save you from his irresistible charm. Grenadier brings back the Turbo Cultist flashbacks. As the name speaks for itself, Grenadiers will try to close the gap fast, circle around you and damage you with either throwing knives or grenades. I was lucky that I had found and enchanted my M3 Termite with a scroll of nature that roots enemies where they stand, effectively making Grenadiers trivial. This circles back to the beauty of core mechanics for Sulfur. Grind previous locations for gold and enchantments to not only survive but thrive in the next. The fortress boss is the Xiaohua Emperor. When the engagement begins, he's piloting a mechanical worm. The only weakness is the last segment. Destroying these segments leave oil spills that slow you down, keep that in mind. The more segments you destroy, the quicker the Emperor's worm will become. Destroying the last segment before the Emperor's cockpit defeats him. Or does it? This was the first time Sulfur caught me off guard with a two-stage boss fight. Sticking to the mechanical theme, the Emperor now pilots a spider bot armed with a homing rocket launcher. To make matters worse, he also gets constantly reinforced with samurai. The fight itself takes place in a circular cavern that offers some destructible cover from the Emperor's missiles. But again, equipment that reduces explosive damage gives you more room for error, as the missiles can be shot down, but it's not that easy. As always, defeating the Emperor for the second and final time grants you access to the desert. Mobility and visibility. This is going to be the name of the game from now on. The desert is covered in a thick dust cloud that reduces your vision. Luckily, high-powered scopes finally come in handy, as they allow you to see further to spot hiding enemies and damage approaching ones before they get in range. Fair to say, ranged enemies are going to be the biggest threat in this location. Mobility is also key here, as the creatively called Hell Shrews, kudos to the developers once again, have very nasty attacks that will test your dodging skills, attention span and reaction time. The basic melee opponent will be the Sticka. Despite being melee only, once he gets close, he starts to spin rapidly. While he's spinning, he will home into your position and deal attacks in rapid succession. Worse, he's totally immune while doing so. As I mentioned just now, high mobility will allow you to either outrun him or dodge his attacks while he's spinning. Then there's the Dig, ambusher type enemy who burrows underground and erupts nearby your location with an area of effect to damage you. Sometimes, with so much happening around, it is easy to forget that he is there. Dispatch him before he has a chance to go underground, or jump out of the way right before he emerges to avoid damage. Shooters are going to be the main headache here. Ranged enemies with a quick lock-on time and immense damage. These should take priority in every encounter. Snipers, on the other hand, choose to pick you off from a distance. If you notice a laser beam, don't stop. Fighting them is challenging as they use camouflage to hide in plain view. Their secondary weapon is a high attack speed SMG if you get too close or blow their cover. I also love how the enemies occasionally arrive mounted on a sand swimming pike like fish. Cute. Before tackling the boss, I should also mention the crypts. You can find or purchase keys that open crypts that are located only in the desert. The premise is simple. Complete the Guardian's challenge. In this playthrough, I tried two. The first one was pretty straightforward. Neutralize 3 strong targets in 2 minutes. The reward? A 4-leaf clover accessory. The other time I was tasked with finding mere 10 chickens. Sounds easy, right? Wrong. Random enemies spawn and try to overwhelm you while you scramble to find the chickens. Also, the chickens were not that easy to find. Unfortunately, I failed the task. Death and the loss of all my items was my consequent reward. Anyway, it's a cool addition to the game, but is it worth the risk? Perhaps I should have not taken my best gear crypt raiding. Oh well, you live and you learn. Back to the boss. The final adversary of the desert is Desert Claws. Sure, why not? Riding a big pike and carrying a minigun, you're in for a battle. As same with the Emperor, the fight is going to have multiple stages. Stage 1. He will dive in and out of the ground on his pike and try to shoot you. Stage 2. Multiple pikes carrying hell shrews will join the fight. You now have to split your attention at immediate threats as well as to keep damaging Desert Claws. Stage 3. Missile Artillery Barrage. Thing would be a cakewalk if you just had to avoid the missiles. But this stage is also accompanied with multiple dig-digs that force you to reposition frequently to avoid damage from them. So between a rock and a hard place type of deal. Stage 4. Sniper Battle. Desert Claws will take cover in nearby ruins and attempt to snipe you. Keep moving and use cover. Here I was really kicking myself that I did not have a high power scope equipped, as I wouldn't be forced to get so close to him. Then we revisit the third stage, the missile and dig-dig combo. Then it's back to stage 2, more hellshrew reinforcements on sandpikes. And finally stage 5, the showdown. Desert Claws will fire a long minigun burst. High mobility here would help immensely. When he stops, fire back with all that you got. Defeat him, and then it's time to peek beyond the veil. This is it. Your long journey for revenge has brought you here. The final battle versus the witch. Pack your best guns, all pizza slices, and pray. The battle commences inside the church and will be split into 2 arenas. The first arena will throw multiple challenges your way. The witch has many abilities: throwing eyes at you, spawning decoys, throwing exploding balls, summoning crows, and even charging straight at you and emitting dark waves for you to dodge. Second arena teleports you into a narrow corridor facing her monstrous form as she guides lasers your way that you have to dodge by jumping or crouching. After damaging her, you are again teleported back to the first arena. The witch has a large health pool, so the battle goes back and forth switching between arenas with increased pace and difficulty as the church in the background becomes more and more engulfed in flames. After a long and tough fight, right before you are able to deliver the finishing blow, the witch attempts to escape on her broom. Oh hell no, she is not getting away this time. We jump into the car and give chase. We are so close. You are a priest. An evil witch has burned down your church with the congregation still in it. Spoilers! Sulfur is purgatory, and now you get to do it all over again, knowing ultimately how it ends or doesn't. I am not new to storytelling tropes, but man, Sulfur caught me off guard with this twist. Some character dialogues do make it seem like there is no witch and we are chasing ghosts. I was definitely expecting a satisfying ending, having the church rebuilt and the congregation saved, but life's not a fairy tale. So, what now? Having beaten the game, you can now play the Endless mode. Endless is a wave mode with a twist. Dispatching enemies will drop these shards, and if you gather enough, you level up and get a choice of buffs that range from increasing shard pull range to increased max health, random guns, items, abilities. Or, if you do not like any available buffs, you can trade the level up for stamps. I found it a quicker way to grind stamps if we compare it to the quest system, but then again, you ultimately trade gear for stamps, as even here, death ends with the loss of your items. Sulfur is a great game that I truly could recommend to everyone. Small details like non-disappearing casings and magazines, gibs and blood bring a feeling of permanence to the world. Even in the sweet long time I took to create this video, the devs were not slouching. Multiple new guns have been added, and a new mechanic with Telia the cyborg. You are now able to sacrifice rank 5 guns in order to have them always available for purchase, just for an exorbitant price. Also, there are now 3 save slots. You do not have to delete your progress if you feel like starting from scratch. I know I do. Sulfur is a very comfy game. The atmosphere of the locations paired with the soundtrack is brilliant. A mix of lo-fi level music to blast goblins to, contrasted with the high adrenaline boss fight rock music, is perfect. I thoroughly enjoyed it after rough long hours of work just to go through the caves to get a little money before bed, and then town to gather some foodstuffs, and then sewers for a little challenge. This just one more run itch made me go to bed much later than I had to, more times than I'd like to admit, but damn, I loved every moment. Even the defeats, even they prove a learning experience as to what equipment to grind for and bring on particular runs, or how to tackle certain enemies. Example, did you know that you don't have to stare at the twerker's butt to avoid his charm? I didn't the first time, so there. Since the sales goal has been met, I understand multiplayer is also coming to Sulfur. I do wonder how the devs will manage the balance. Will maps be more packed with enemies, or will they be made more spongy? We'll have to wait and see, but in my opinion, everything is better with a buddy. In the meantime, feel free to check out my Sulfur New to Dude gameplay series on my channel, if you want more detailed insight into what Sulfur is all about. And I thank you for watching.